I just had one comment as you're trying to think about how this might map onto undergraduate experiences or people who are working. I think a lot of what I saw in your presentation was being done by the schools that had gotten endowments from the Lilly Foundation a few years ago, and there was about 80 or some schools who got endowments from the Lilly Foundation to really think about how do you incorporate in really structured ways for undergraduates to think through values, purpose, meaning, through reflection, through other kinds of things. And I think the jury is still out on kind of the longer term effects of those grants that went around, but I think some of the structural issues that I think all of us who work on campuses are going to have to kind of struggle with is that a lot of this kind of work, if it's done really well, doesn't land in some of the traditional structures, the inherited structures of the academy. They're sort of either interstitial spaces or spaces that require people to form new forms of relationships that are often across reporting lines. And oftentimes they don't speak to the same kind of metrics of success that are existing right now in kind of higher ed. And so I think if we're going to think about how we make these really good insights and these kind of things work in an undergraduate situation, it's going to require us to really think about how we map on structures, how we do evaluation differently, how we work across reporting lines, how we keep it aligned, how we keep it going even after maybe one sympathetic higher education provost or leader exits who can see it and others. So I think this is where the work of CLTE kind of comes in handy of thinking how can we think through this together to make things like this possible.
Yeah, that's so important. And I would have many fewer ideas about this than the rest of you because this is your world much more than mine. But it occurred to me, that it involves cutting across traditional structures, just like the discussion about mentoring yesterday involved, the idea that, well, not every professor should be a mentor. No, but, some other staff can be fabulous mentors. So how do you, and if you think about facilitators for this kind of program or designing your life or the storytelling programs, you don't necessarily want people who fall into a certain class of employee in a university or college setting. You want to cut across. You want to see where the talent lies for these particular functions. And so again, it's to speak to what you're saying, that it involves looking outside of thinking outside the box in terms of how colleges and universities are now set up, how staff is set up.